Coming up on the program, it's time to harvest our potatoes. I'm excited to see what's under the ground since we've had so much rain. And we're going to harvest our potatoes out of our grow bag and check on our experiment. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is sponsored by the following. MIGardener.com, over 300 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. MIGardener.com. Sioux Growing Supply, located in Wausau, Wisconsin, focusing on certified leaf compost, an excellent amendment for poor soil. With their new garden blend, improving soil structure in clay and sandy soil, great for creating new garden beds. Also available from Sioux's, pre-filled trays and pots with professional potting soil mix or organic rice hull-based potting soil mix. Bag and bulk of certified leaf compost also available. Visit SiouxGrowingSupply.com. Stop before you dig. Call Digger's Hotline first. Call 3 business days before you dig. It's the law. It's completely free and it's for your safety. Know what's below before you dig. It's your responsibility. Call Digger's Hotline or visit them at diggershotline.com. HappyLeafLED.com, a commercial grade grow light with a home gardener's affordability. No fans, no motors, simply plug in and grow. Great for seed starting to lettuce to full grown tomatoes, all indoors. HappyLeafLED.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. We are in the potato patch. We've got 2 potato patches, one here and one over a little ways, about 10 foot away, that are both ready to go. Now, you will know that they're ready to go whenever the plants begin to die off. Now, this is not because of a disease. This is just the end of the life cycle of the potato. Some of these are not quite ready, but once the flowers has occurred and the plants begin to get yellow and die back, it's an okay time to harvest. So we're going to do that because we've had a lot of rain and we continue to get a lot of rain and want to get them out of the ground so they're not sitting there. So we're going to use a garden fork. This is a hard tine metal fork, not a hay fork, a garden fork that is designed to let the soil fall through, but less likely to puncture or pierce potatoes. We will get some of those. We'll hit some of those, but we want to use that. I got Danny, my nephew here, who is going to help. So you just want to get on the outside of the row. Okay, and ready, and you just want to pull back. All right, here we go. Ready? Okay. Let's see what we got here. I see something. There's 1. There's 2. Let's see what else we have. All right, let's watch. There you go. Let's see. Hopefully we have more than 2 potatoes per plant. Doesn't seem like that good of a return. Let's get on this side here. No, there's better. Here, you want to put that in the crate?
I find one.
Yeah.
Find one.
Let's see what else we have. So we're going to dig a while here, and if you see something that looks like a rotten potato, that is not a rotten. Found a couple of them, yeah. That is not a rotten potato. That is actually the seed potato, and this is the remnants of this particular seed potato. So we're going to dig through here and see if we get more than 2 potatoes per plant, which I'm hoping we do, and we'll see what we got. But yeah, the weeds are not an issue. That's one of the reasons why I didn't weed this bed, is because we're going to harvest these relatively soon. All right, so I've done, it's about 20 feet, 18, 20 feet, these 2 rows here. Didn't get the return that I thought we were going to get. Very nice sized potatoes. These are Yukon Gems from Wood Prairie Farms. We had good seed potatoes. It's not the potato's fault. It's a lot of the soil here. We've had a lot of rain, but you can see it's just so dense. It's not loose and fluffy at all. Even though when we planted them, I worked the soil about 1 foot deep, added Sioux Growing Supply professional potting soil, sustained fertilizer, and all of that. It's just, we're still got to try to build this soil. We do have worms in it, but this soil is just still very dense, even though we've had a lot of rain. and I dug up one rotten potato. You can see the color differentiation there. This one is rotten, it's very spongy. And I did come up with several potatoes that has like a crease or a seam in them, which is unusual. We had a couple last year. I just don't know if there's a root cause to that or if it's just a genetic alternation of the potato. So there's about 10 pounds there, 10, 15 pounds. Now you'll dig potatoes up that look like this. That is that seed potato I spoke about, and these are absolutely no good for anything. So we'll toss that, the rotten potato. We can toss that as well. So I've got about 20 more feet back there to dig up, and we'll see if those have a different yield than these. Now this bed had potatoes in it 3 years ago. That bed there has never had potatoes in it, so we're going to see if that has any difference in the amount of yield that we get out of the bed. So I got one row harvested here, and the amazing difference at about 15 feet between beds make, this is what I got from one row. This is what I got from the 2 rows that we harvested at the first there. Now that's contributing factor is the variety of the same from Wood Prairie Farms. Some of these are Wood Prairie Blush, some of them are Yukon Gems. But the main difference is the looseness of this soil. You can see how it just falls through the fork. I did not have that kind of looseness in that first bed there. Now there are some clumps and some dense soil here, but nothing to the comparison of that first bed. And when I was harvesting out of this, there was one plant where I pulled 11 potatoes off of. That first bed, at best, we had 2.5, what I consider a half potato would be something like that. You know, that was the most out of the first bed. But over here, still got one row to go, so we'll see what those represent. I'll separate those and we'll do another comparison. What we've learned already is we're not planting potatoes in that bed 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. It's just, the last time we harvested potatoes from that bed 3 years ago, we kind of got the same results. Small amount of potatoes, decent size. So we'll just dedicate that bed to something else. So I'm going to dig these up and we'll see what we get in this next row. So we've harvested this next row, and that's what we got. This was just a mosh podge of leftover potatoes. Apparently I got some reds, some fingerlings, russets, a few small purples. The interesting thing about the reds is that and that were seed potatoes off the two plants of reds. This one is completely rotten, so we'll get rid of that. This one is as solid as the day I put it in, but it's not red anymore. It's lost its pigmentation, its skin color, and now it's a plain white. So, you know, I don't think we could eat that, but if we cut that open and that's solid as the day we planted it, I think we might try to just nibble on it and see if it's even worth it. Not saying you should, but it's just as solid as the potatoes we dug out, and that was the seed potato for some of those reds. So we've learned, again, never to plant any potatoes in that first bed. We'll probably not plant potatoes in this bed again, maybe, based on where we decide to do. Now this is, out of these 2 beds, one was going to be garlic for fall and the other was going to be rutabagas and turnips. Well, the garlic is definitely going to go in this bed, and we'll make the rutabagas and turnips in the other bed there and add some nutrients. So experiment, don't plant all your potatoes in one location every year or all in 1 year. We've got these 2 beds, and then we've got another 2 beds on the other side of the garden with potatoes in it, just to spread them out. So we're fairly happy with this. We've seen better, we've seen far, far worse. So we're pleased with this. A lot of this will go into pressure canning potatoes in quart jars. When it comes to growing large onions, there's a couple of things that we have learned here. We've tried to grow large onions in the actual traditional ground with little to no success. Now, in this particular garden, in the front yard garden, our bulbing is occurring quite nicely. So in the large garden here, we went to all raised beds for growing our onions. This is an Art of the Garden raised bed. We've got purple onions, Spanish yellow onions, and white onions in here. And you can see the tops are nice and tall, as well as, see, so this is one of the larger purple onions here. That's baseball size there. Now, they get smaller, larger, a mixture of onions, but they haven't, it's not time to harvest them. You can see that one is tennis ping pong ball larger, closer to tennis ball size in this bed here. What we have done here is we started these from seed. In our area, what we've learned is the first week in January. We started them in root maker 1 gallon grow bags, and then we transplanted them out at the appropriate time. The thing that we learned was not to put too many in that root maker 1 gallon grow bag. About 100 seeds works out really well. And then we transplanted these out in the square foot garden method, which is 9 onions per square foot. And you think they're going to get big, and that's what they're doing here. But you can see they're not competing with each other. There's plenty of room between the onions here. And all the leaves or top growth represents rings inside the onion. Now some people will take and cut these back to take the top weight off of it, because what happens is at the time, if my fist is the bulb, at the time that you know it's ready to harvest, the stalk itself will fall over and pinch itself onto the ground, and that's an indication that the bulb and the onion is done growing, and that's when you want to harvest and you can cure them that way. Some people will take and cut that top portion off to limit the top weight so you get a little more longevity out of the bulb development without pinching over. But our best advice is to grow them in loose soil. This is certified leaf compost. That's what we have found to work really good here. If you got dense soil, it just doesn't work as it does in our traditional ground garden. Front yard garden, working very well also. Growing big onions, these are the largest we've ever grown, and we're very happy with it, and we'll continue this practice next year by growing them in loose compost in raised beds. So we've got potatoes growing in our root maker grow bags here. They've been mulched with this combination of pine needles and straw and grass clippings. We're going to harvest this one secondary, and I'll explain why we've got such a growth on it. These are 10-gallon grow bags. This was just a normal planted 3 potatoes in this bag. And compared to what we did earlier, if you're going to grow potatoes and you're not looking for hundreds of pounds of yield, grow bags are the best way, because you can just tip them over and dump them out and easily sort out what you got. So let's see. Now these were not taken care of at all. So fingerlings here. These were left to their own survival, no water to them. That's one of the seed potatoes there. Now the question is asked, if we would have watered these on a regular basis, how well would these have done? Probably twice as much as what we're getting there. With the mulch, it did help immensely. And you're always going to find little potatoes here. So that's what we got. That's a good meal there. Nothing great. These grow bags are set behind the shed. We don't take care of them that much. Now, if it was our only means of potatoes, then we'd pay a whole lot more attention to these. But we grow them and see how they react. If we remember to water them, they get watered. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. Then we're going to talk about this little experiment here and just see what we have. So I got that cleaned up. Now this here, it's a 10-gallon grow bag from Root Maker, but it contains dozens of small potato chunks that I threw in here. We had a lot left over in the tray that we store inside. They started to sprout eyes, and they were just very small, and they weren't. I didn't want to put them in the ground because I didn't think they'd have any type of return. So I just took all of them and threw in this bag, covered them up, did our normal fertilizer procedure, watered them, and a lot of them came up. So I'm going to see what we have. There's blue, purple, red, white, the whole deal in here. So we're just going to see what we have, if anything, or if we just got a whole bunch of, again, tiny little potatoes in here. So this is just some of the examples of kind of the mosh mix-up of seed potatoes that we threw in. Just a whole bunch of non-insignificant sized potatoes. So we'll just see here. I do have some. I knew these wouldn't be large. That wasn't the goal. The goal was not to throw the potatoes in the compost pile, but put them in soil and just see if anything would grow. That's a purple one, or blue as they call it. So you can see that it was worth not throwing in the compost. There's more there that I'll sort out. So if you got a whole bunch of old potatoes, organic potatoes, these were ones that we harvested 1 year ago that we had kept inside. They got shriveled and weak and small that we just couldn't eat or just didn't get around to eating. We threw them all in this bag and it worked that we've got enough for a meal. So it's not a waste. Thanks for joining me. Join me again next time for more organic gardening and food preserving. I'm Joy Baird, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com.